And welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Clark Wolf, and this is our daily show bringing you the latest in movie news with insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea. John, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Greetings and salutations on this fine and gorgeous, what is it, Monday? Forget it. I hate today.
And also joining us this morning is AMC Movie News Associate Editor, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. Amy Rose, good morning.
Good morning. Hello, lovelies. Hope you had a nice weekend.
Hey, listen, folks, before we get into the movie news, I want to remind you of a couple things. A couple announcements here about Comic-Con that is coming up. Of course, the big annual San Diego Comic-Con is quickly approaching us in July, and we've got a couple things we got going on there. First of all, every year I run a little thing called the Masters of the Web panel, where I get some of the biggest and best online film pundits together to talk about movies, and we usually get a couple of celebrities and filmmakers on the panel as well. This year we have a special horror theme. We got some great horror pundits that are going to be on the panel, and Lionsgate's upcoming film, You're Next, which if you've been following this, you know some people are calling it one of the best horror films in years. We're going to have the writer and the director of that film on the panel with us. That is going to be Thursday of Comic-Con, Thursday, July 18th at 11:30 in the morning in room 24A, B, and C. So make sure you're there. Come out and join us for that panel. I'm going to be there, obviously, hosting the thing. The whole AMC Movie Talk crew is going to be there as well. Also, though, on Thursday night, we're going to have an AMC Movie News meet and greet. We are going to be in the bar on the main floor of the Omni Hotel, which is right across from the convention center. So it's going to be me and Amy Rose and Clark and Dennis and John Schnepp's going to be there. Chris Lee Kennedy's going to be there. Gray Drake's going to be there. The whole crew, we're all going to be there from 7 o'clock until about 8:30 in the evening. So make sure you drop on in. We're just going to be hanging out, standing around, drinking, maybe heavily, I can't say. And come on in and meet us and say hi. So that's Thursday, July 18th at the San Diego Comic-Con, starting with the Masters of the Web panel in the morning, and then, of course, the AMC Movie Talk meet and greet in the bar on the main floor of the Omni Hotel later that evening. We hope to see you there.
Yeah. It appears to be official. Will Smith will not be returning for Independence Day 2. No. Currently titled ID4 Forever Part 1 and is set to be released in AMC theaters everywhere in 2015. When asked about Smith's potential involvement in the film, director Roland Emmerich stated that Smith is simply too expensive to have in the movie and too much of a marquee name. But the film won't be all new faces either. Emmerich is promising that about half of the characters in the sequel will come back for the original. Amy Rose, what do you make of Emmerich not bringing Will Smith back?
Emmerich, my friend, you really think your films are above marquee names? Sorry, you need all the help you can get. Your films are not, 2012, 10,000 BC, Day After Tomorrow, all these films are fun popcorn flicks. We don't see them because we think there's going to be an amazing plot and, an amazing film. No, it's a mindless good time, and those are heavily anchored by your stars. White House Down is getting a lot of love because Jamie Foxx and Channing Tatum apparently have a lot of chemistry together. You really think people would be all excited about this if you didn't have the star power. I'm not a fan. I think Will Smith was so wonderful. I love him as an actor. He's so charismatic and charming and good at action. And if you're not going to have him in this film, why don't you just start a new franchise, which is going to look like your 10 other films, same exact films, and just call it something else? ID4 Forever Part 1? What? I don't even know. So, Will Smith, I'm sad to see you're not coming. You are a big marquee name. And, it'd be funny because if they did lock him down, I'm sure Emmerich would be like, we couldn't do this without Will Smith. He's the man for this project. So, he's kind of backpedaling because they couldn't lock him down. But the movie's just going to be a mindless time, and I think you do need the stars there to support
Absolutely not. Bye, Will Smith. See you later. Guess what? The first Independence Day had no big major marquee names. Who were the headliners in that film? Dave Pullman, Jeff Goldblum. Bill Pullman. I keep saying Dave.
He looks like a Dave. He does look like a Dave.
He must have named Dave and something. But Bill Pullman, I just named him. Jeff Goldblum. And the DJ Jazzy Fresh Prince was in it at the time.
Okay, he was in Bad Boys before.
Look, he wasn't a nobody name, but he was not the big major A-list superstar. And you ran down a bunch of other Emmerich's films. None of them had big major A-list superstars in them. Who was the big major star in 2012? John Malkovich.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
John
Cusack.
John Cusack, thank you.
right.
Who was the big major
He's a
star?
pretty big star.
He's a recognizable actor, but he's not a marquee A-list major star. Who was the big star in The Day After Tomorrow? Dennis Quaid?
No.
Jake Gyllenhaal. There you go.
But was he a major
Neo, hello.
big bring in what? Neo? Neo wasn't in that. You're thinking
Still.
that was the day they were still.
They're all the same.
We're all getting mixed up today.
They all blend
But
together.
here's the thing. You were absolutely right, Emmerich, and I'm very glad that Hollywood is starting to recognize what a lot of us have already known. Guess what, Will Smith? Your last film made $57 million domestically in North America. It was, despite the fact that it was a big sci-fi epic, people didn't go see it just because you were in it. And I'm glad that directors like Emmerich are starting to recognize us and are finally taking a stand and saying, no, you don't get to walk in here, pretend you're bigger than the film, and demand 50, 60, 70 million dollar paychecks. No, you don't get to do that. Independence Day did great without huge megastar names in it. A lot of Emmerich's films have done just fine without huge megastar names in it. And guess what? As stupid as the title is, ID Forever Part 1 is going to do just fine at the box office without Will Smith in it. Hey, look, all things being equal, I think all of us would agree we would rather see Will Smith in this film than not. But I'm really glad that some common sense is starting to take form in Hollywood, and studios and directors are standing up to these actors who think they're bigger than everything, demanding ridiculously sized paychecks. And I'm hoping After Earth will be a smack in the face to Will Smith to bring him back to reality so we can start seeing him in some more really cool stuff, just without thinking he's bigger than everything else in the world, because After Earth proves he's not. Actually, a number of his films have proved that he's not lately. I want to see him in it, but if he's going to demand that kind of money, then bravo, Emmerich. Bravo for standing your ground and saying, guess what, we'll do it without you.
I don't think it's Emmerich standing his ground. I'm sure they fought very hard to get Will Smith, but in the end, they did not have the budget for it. I don't think it's going, we don't need you. Obviously, they would have liked him. He has a lot of star power, and this franchise, made him even more famous than he was at the time.
I'm actually surprised that Will Smith himself isn't kind of like, After Earth didn't do so great. Maybe I should go do some. Because he's obviously not adverse to sequels. We're getting he's trying to do a fourth Men in Black movie.
Yeah, because it worked for him and he wants to go back to it. So, I respect that they have a budget and saying, guess what? No, we're not going to cut other stuff out just to make room for your salary demands. And I'm very glad that they're doing that. And you're right. I'm sure it's not all Emmerich. I'm sure the studio's having a say in this too. But Emmerich has, from day one, never committed saying, yeah, I'm going to make sure we get Will Smith in this. He said, hey, we want him in it, but it all depends on his demands. And his demands are too high and they're standing the ground. And I applaud you. Not everybody will. Not everybody does. And I can understand your reasoning for it. But for me, I applaud it.
They all look the same anyway. Do your thing, Emmerich.
Yeah, who does Will Smith think he is anyway? Iron Man? Oh, snap. Okay. We're all excited for the upcoming Kick-Ass 2, which hits AMC theaters everywhere on August 16th. Well, maybe not all of us. It seems actor Jim Carrey has decided not to promote the film due to his anti-gun and anti-violence beliefs. Carrey let the world know he won't be promoting Kick-Ass 2 in a tweet he sent out saying the following: I did Kick-Ass a month before Sandy Hook, and now, all in good conscience, I can't support the level of violence. My apologies to others involved in the film. I am not ashamed of it, but recent events have caused a change in my heart. John, do you agree with Carrey's position not to promote Kick-Ass 2?
I want to be very, very careful about how I answer this. We talk on this show and we get very, I at least get extremely passionate about some topics and whatever, but let's put it in context of world events. But on this show, we're talking about movies, so I'm going to get passionate about movies. I want to be very careful about this because we're broaching on some very core hot topic beliefs with some people. I'm going to tell you what I think about Jim Carrey backing out of this, but in order to do that, I need to tip my hand about what my personal beliefs are. But just because I'm revealing them here doesn't mean I'm trying to denounce whatever your beliefs are or try to change your mind or anything like that. It's just what has to happen for me to answer the question. Me personally, I'm a pacifist. I don't believe in killing. That's just me. I'm not saying you should believe that. That's just me. And so I appreciate, and I'm also Canadian, and we don't kill each other with guns. So I understand the gun control movement. People who want stricter gun control, I understand it. I'm not trying to tell you what to think. I'm just saying that's where I'm coming from. So I can appreciate where Jim Carrey is coming from and the sentiment of what it is he's communicating. I can appreciate it. I respect his beliefs, and I can even appreciate the sentiment behind it. That being said, I also understand that the movies are different from reality. They're not real things. I was just telling a story to Amy Rose, actually. A friend of mine is actually a minister in the largest church in Canada. He's a throwback to the 70s, loved children. He's like long, shaggy hair, wears the Birkenstocks, whatever. And he is a hardcore pacifist. Does not believe in violence, does not believe in killing in any circumstances. That's what he is. That's his personal beliefs. But every year at the Toronto Zombie Walk, you'll find him and his daughters and everything. He's a horror freak, and he loves massive violence in movies because he understands there's a difference between storytelling, fantasy storytelling, whatever. I don't think the message of Kick-Ass was ever that we should arm with guns and knives 12-year-old girls to run out and fight crime in the streets. I don't think anybody was saying that's the message in the movie. It was just mindless entertainment. Now, Jim is talking about, things since Sandy Hook. I mean, an incident that has shook, and no matter where we fall on the political spectrum, shook all of us, that we all just, and I can understand maybe reacting certain ways. But Jim, you're a professional. You knew what Kick-Ass 2 was when you signed up for it. You saw the script. You said you loved the first movie so much you had to be involved in it, and you accepted a paycheck to be in it. And now you're saying you don't want to promote the film. Okay, I'll respect that if you give your paycheck back. Either give it back or donate it entirely to, violence relief funds or to the victims of Sandy Hook or something like that. If you want to do that, fine. Otherwise, I think this is an unprofessional move. You signed on to do this movie. Part of doing a movie is you stand up and you promote it. Whether or not you understand the difference between real life and movies, there's a debate to have there, and I'm not going to have the debate. I respect whatever views you have, but you got paid for this thing. So either give the money back or promote the film. That's just my personal view of it. Amy Rose, how do you see this?
Yeah, actors are actually paid more for promotion than their actual talent in the end, because they really need to help spread the word and appear on late nights and talk shows and all this good stuff. So yeah, I think there's just a really important thing to separate entertainment from life. Is Jim Carrey going to boycott video games too because they're too violent and realistic? I just think that, while his heart might be in the right place, Kick-Ass, we're not saying that because we want to watch everyone die. It's fun time. The storyline's fun. Kick-Ass himself is a charming character. I just don't think, and Jim Carrey as Colonel Stars and Stripes, I mean, yeah, I just think it's a little dramatic.
Who, by the way, is, I believe, if I understand it right, is a born-again Christian character who does not believe in guns. That's his character.
That's funny.
I think so. I mean,
it's also an R-rated film.
Yeah,
it's an R-rated movie. This is not for teenagers.
Exactly. But yeah, and even the name is patriotic, so you're doing your part there. But I just think that, a lot of the times we talk about, for example, Kobe Bryant. I am not a big fan of his personal life, but on the court, I love him. I think there's a very big difference in separating your personal from entertainment from your job itself. And I think that he's kind of blurring that line. And I completely agree with what you said. If you really wholeheartedly believe in this, Carrey, why don't you do something for the victims? We don't know if he has. Maybe he has. But yeah, since Kick-Ass offends you so much by going on promoting guns and all this good stuff, why don't you put your buck where your mouth is and go ahead and support it firsthand. So I do think there needs to be a very clear separation of entertainment. And I mean, there's a reason we go to escape reality for this and enjoy the 2-hour adventure and just completely give ourselves to the theater and the experience of movies. So I think it's interesting. I'm not going to judge him for his call, but if you do believe in something, you should support it with not just your words, with your finances.
And the other thing here too is I think as audience members, sometimes we think, oh, if something happens in a movie, that means those filmmakers or that actor is saying that's the way it should be. And that's not necessarily the case. I remember, I'm going to give a little spoiler away to a very old movie, so just warning in advance. The ending to $1 Million Baby is a great example of this. In the end of that film, once again, I gave you a spoiler warning, okay? Clint Eastwood's character decides to help the girl die at the end. And that got a lot of people very angry and very upset. I remember there were protests at the movie, people saying Clint Eastwood thinks you should kill cripples. Clint Eastwood thinks you should do that. And I remember the reaction was, no, not saying that's what I think should happen in real life. This is just something that happened in a movie. I myself, as a person, may not have made the same decision that Clint Eastwood's character made in that movie, but I appreciated the film anyway because it showed me that man's struggle and what he went through and what brought him to making the decision he made. Doesn't mean they're saying that's what everybody should do or that what I should do or whatever. It's just, it's telling us a story and showing us different perspectives on the world. Doesn't mean we have to agree with it. Doesn't even mean the filmmakers agree with it. It's not a movie about what should happen. It's just about a movie telling a story about something that happened. And then it's up to you and me to decide how it interacts with us, how it affects us, how it impacts us. You know, I mentioned that, you know, I'm a pacifist. I don't believe in killing. And some people will say to me, well, John, aren't you a bit of a hypocrite because you're mixed martial arts, you're into mixed MMA and you do all that kind of crap? Well, yeah, I don't believe in killing people. That doesn't mean I don't believe some people deserve to have some manners smacked into them once in a while. But it all depends on your point of view and where you're coming from. And I think that's important to have that distinction, especially when you're talking about a movie like Kick-Ass, which is so wildly fantasy-based. And once again, I'm with Amy Rose. Neither judging nor endorsing Jim Carrey's personal move on this, but I think you need to have some integrity and consistency in this. Look, you said you loved the original. You said you wanted to do this. You read the script before you did it. You took the paycheck. Now you're saying you don't want to promote it? I'm disappointed in you, Jim. Disappointed.
Oh, Jim.
All right, it's time for that part of the show called Buy or Sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Clark has a bunch of other items in the world of movie news that she's going to list through, and Amy Rose and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Clark, what do we got?
Movie site JoBlo.com is claiming to have a source close to the Jurassic Park 4 production that has slipped them the synopsis for the upcoming movie. According to the report, Jurassic Park 4 will take place back on Isla Nublar with a fully operation dinosaur theme park. I'm sure no expense was spared. That's both prosperous and safe until a new dinosaur figures out a way to wreak havoc, causing the use of other tamed dinosaurs as a means to fighting the threat. Amy Rose, buy or sell the new description of Jurassic Park 4?
All right. I am going to buy this because I love prehistoric dinos, CGI, all their glory on the big screen. Is the synopsis pretty much taking us back to Jurassic Park 1? Absolutely. But the last couple of films didn't really do it for me, and I'm able to give up maybe an amazing plot line for just the fun time of giant dinosaurs coming to life in front of my eyes.
I sell the idea that this rumor is true. But okay, let's go on the assumption that it's true. Okay, let's just assume that it's true. Buy this! Buy this wholeheartedly! You kidding me? This sounds perfect. You can't do a Jurassic Park 4 better than this. Okay, first of all, when we left, remember, the first island was never revisited after the first movie, okay? So there was the other island that went for parts 2 and part 3. So they go back, and we all knew that the dinosaurs were evolving, different things were happening. So you want to throw something like, okay, a new apex predator dinosaur pops up that's really smart and intelligent, and now the humans are going to use tamed velociraptors or Tyrannosaurus rexes in their fight against a giant thing on the big screen? Are you kidding me? This sounds awesome. I'm very excited for this, if they are going this way, which I do not believe they are. If they're going this way, you got me, folks. You got me. For me, it's a buy.
I hate this, but that's all I'm going to say. It was a big weekend at the box office as 3 films made over $40 million. In first place was the new Pixar film Monsters University, which took in $82 million on its opening weekend. In second place is the new Brad Pitt zombie apocalypse movie World War Z, taking in $66 million. And in third place is the new Superman film Man of Steel, taking in $41 million. John, buy or sell these box office results?
Okay, yeah, you got to buy them. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago we had the question come in, do we think Man of Steel will still be #1 against World War Z? And I said, actually, even World War Z won't be #1. It's going to be Monsters U, then it's going to be World War Z, and then it's going to be Man of Steel, somewhere between 40 and 50 million. And that's the way it kind of broke down. And the way it should. I mean, Pixar is a juggernaut. It's hard to fight against it, even though this is a sequel, and not a very heavily marketed sequel. But it coming around 80, World War Z coming around 66, Man of Steel coming around 41, 42. I think everything's right about where it should be. So for me, it's a buy. Amy Rose?
Yeah, buy as well. Not surprised about this. Any animated film really crosses generations because most of them these days have a lot of adult humor, so the adults are happy, the kids are visually happy, everyone's happy. Pixar, Monsters U was a charming prequel, and I really enjoyed it. So.
Me too.
Looking forward to a Bridesmaids 2? Well, so is director Paul Feig. In a recent interview, the director was directly asked if they're going to do a sequel to the surprise hit comedy, to which he replied, "Talk to Kristen. It really does fall to Kristen on that one because that's her baby and also she's great in it. I can't imagine doing it without her, so that one's not in my court. That is not in my hands." Amy Rose, buy or sell a Bridesmaids 2?
Buy. Kristen Wiig is a goddess. She is hilarious. She is just so clever. She's beautiful. She's the whole package. And I thought Bridesmaids was a great movie, and I'd be really interested to see them with a new adventure. And Melissa McCarthy has never had a better role than that. I just imagine her with like the 9 puppies. It's so good.
Now they're dogs.
Yeah, for me, I have to buy it as well. I'm buying everything today. Because this goes back to this. Look, while the story in Bridesmaids was actually quite good, it was a good story. What made it a treasure to me and to a lot of us is it was the characters themselves and their interactions. And when that's your strength, then you want to revisit those people. It's not like the first movie, basically ruled out any, they all died at the end, therefore you can't have a sequel. I want to visit these characters again. I hope Kristen Wiig decides to do it. This is her baby. I hope she decides to move forward with it. I would love to see it. So, yeah, for me, it's a buy.
A brand new cover of Empire magazine has been revealed online featuring the elves in the upcoming The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, highlighting Orlando Bloom front and center as Legolas, the popular elf from the original Lord of the Rings movies. Some fan object to Legolas's presence in the film since the character is not part of the Hobbit book. John, buy or sell Legolas in the new Hobbit movie?
Might be the first time ever. I'm buying everything today. So I buy this. No, I understand. I had this argument before with people, like with the Lord of the Rings. There are a lot of people who were very upset with the Lord of the Rings because it did not stick exactly to the book. And my argument was, good. They made it a great movie, and not everything in the book would have made for a great movie. Bringing Legolas back to me makes sense in a movie realm because elves are supposed to basically be immortal. He was around. So Legolas would have been around in this movie universe. I think it makes sense to have him back in there. It's also nice to see Lost Girl in there too. Why not? So yeah, for me, I'm happy to see it. I think it makes logical sense that he'd be there. So for me, it's a buy.
Same. Bye. I really like the character of Legolas, and I liked Orlando Bloom in the role. And, I'm not offended by this either because it is Middle Earth. It's from the same universe. It's not like, oh, let's pull this character from Star Wars and throw him in Middle Earth.
R2-D2.
Yeah, as much as I'd be into that, that would be taking a lot of liberties. And this is the same world, and he was a great character. And Evangeline Lilly looks hot as an elf.
Yes. Well, she looks hot in firefighter gear. It doesn't matter. She's just a hot woman.
So yeah, and I really like how they're featuring the 3 of them on the cover. It just really shows, power. I'm really excited for this film.
All right, folks, we reached that point in the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you would like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, we only have time to get to 2 or 3 of them every single day, but we've started a new show on the weekends every Saturday and Sunday called AMC Mailbag, where we address like 7 to 10 questions. So maybe your question will get answered here on AMC Movie Talk. Maybe it'll be answered on AMC Mailbag. You have to check it out and find out. But for now, Clark's got a few messages pulled out of the mailbag. So, Clark, what do we got?
CJ Wyatt writes, "Hey John, love the show. My question is about #1 box office of 2014. As of right now, we have a lot of summer blockbuster movies next year, like Captain America, Ninja Turtles, 21 Jump Street 2, Transformers 4, Guardians of the Galaxy, etc. What would you pick for the 2014 box office winner?"
Yeah, we've been so focused on 2015, which is going to be a massively great and a very successful and profitable year, I'm sure. We've often forget about 2014. There's some very cool films coming out. Now, here are the films that I believe will contend for the #1 box office spot. Once again, we're not asking what will be the best movie of 2014. We're asking what do we think will make the most money? What will people go out and see the most? I think the contenders are going to be X-Men Days of Future Past, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Captain America Winter Soldier, the Hunger Games film, The Hobbit, the final of the 3 Hobbit films, the final of the 3 Hobbit films, Fast and Furious 7, and Transformers 4. I've got to believe it's going to be Transformers 4. Transformers 4 will win the box office. Why? Because it's going to come out with a mind-boggling, jaw-dropping trailer, despite despite the crap of the third Transformers film, it was a remarkable looking trailer. All the trailers were fantastic looking. It's like dangling catnip in front of a feline, and I'm gonna walk in like a mindless zombie to see it. It's probably not gonna be that good, but I'm gonna see it, and then I'll probably see it again and again, because visually it's probably going to be awe-inspiring and all that kind of stuff. Everything that a big summer blockbuster needs to be. So while I believe it will not be the best film of the summer, I do believe that Transformers 4 will be the #1 box office film of 2014. Amy Rose, what do you think?
I sure hope not. I sure hope not. I'm sorry, Bae. Nope. As long as it's not Ninja Turtles, I'll be okay, though.
Ninja Turtles won't come in the top 10.
I'd rather Transformers take it. Now, I do think that X-Men, despite just being an avid lover of the franchise and of the comics, I just think not beyond all of the star power, because my goodness is this cast stacked, so stacked. But Bryan Singer, I think a lot of people want to see his redemption film because Ratner ruined the third one, in my humble opinion. So I do think that there's a lot of buzz and a lot of love around this film. So I'm hoping, but again, that might be my hopeful optimistic. I do think Transformers is going to make a lot of money. Obviously, Fast and Furious is going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because they
really
just greenlit it to basically have no time for development and just keep going. So that's going to keep making a lot of money, and all our beloved superhero films are going to as well. I don't think we'll see any Iron Man or Avengers status with the sequels, Captain America and all of them, but I do think they're going to bring in a lot of money as well. And my goodness, do we have some good movies coming up in the next couple of years.
And I think a lot of the X-Men's fate, X-Men Days of Future Past, will depend a lot on Wolverine. That's coming out here pretty soon. If Wolverine is great, I think that vaults X-Men Days of Future Past maybe into the top 3.
Yeah.
Because right now you got to be talking Hobbit, Transformers, and Fast 7.
Yeah.
And then there's other contenders like, it's a lot of very big
Stacked.
movies. Very
stacked. It's really stacked.
Emilio Alvarez writes, "Hey guys, love the show. I'm really excited about Joseph Gordon-Levitt's directorial debut of Don John coming in September. My question is, do you guys think it'll be a huge success at the box office? Also, if it is successful, will he continue down the path of a director, or will this just be an itch he wanted to scratch? I personally would like to see him act in lead roles with big-name directors like Spielberg, Tarantino, Malick, Nolan, or David O. Russell, instead of directing movies. Your thoughts?"
Amy Rose, I know you're a big Joseph Gordon-Levitt fan. What do you think?
I am. I don't think that this is just an itch he's trying to scratch. I don't know if you're aware, but he has this company called Hit Record, and it's basically a collaborative production company. He is so intelligent. He really knows how to market the arts and to help other artists really find a voice, and that's what Hit Record has been all about for him. He's the whole package. He really is. I do love him as an actor. I have heard a lot about Don Juan, and I think it's going to be great, but I really think he has such an artistic eye and just such a stylistic approach to everything he does, whether it be writing or producing or starring, and I do think that he's going to prove to be really good at it. I'm very optimistic about it, and I hope he continues to do both. I wouldn't like him to take himself off, leading roles, because I do love him. And he can do anything. He can do dramatic, he can do 500 Days of Summer, where it's super charming and comedic, and he can sing and he can dance. I mean, he really is like more than a triple threat. He's like a quad threat. He's so talented. So I hope this is not, in terms of the box office success, it is going to be more of an indie film, so I don't think it's going to explode at the box office, but I think this is the kind of film that's going to get word of mouth, because I do have faith that it's going to be a good production, and it might build and at least get him even more, credibility than he already has. But in terms of box office returns, I don't think it's going to be gigantic.
No, this Don John will not be a big box office hit by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not an expensive film to make, so it doesn't have to be a big, huge hit. Can Joseph Gordon-Levitt direct? We don't know. I mean, we're really going to have to wait and see, but I got to tell you, I love the sounds of this movie. Not just, first of all, he's starring in it as well, so that's an interesting thing. But he plays a guy who's addicted to pornography, who just picks up hot women every weekend and decides he wants to try something a little bit different to see if he can get more fulfillment. I think that sounds amazing. What really excites me, though, is the cast.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody will instantly think of Scarlett Johansson. Yes, she's fabulous. She's very hot right now, all that kind of stuff. Yes, and I do like it. But you got Julianne Moore in there.
I love her.
You got Tony Danza in there. I think playing Joseph Gordon-Levitt's father, I think that is inspired casting. I think that's wonderful. I'm really excited. I've never pronounced her name right. But Glennie Headley, who played I think they called her the Fox in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. She was the foil to Steve Martin and Michael
Yes.
Caine.
I love that
And
movie.
So great.
she should have been a major star after her
loved
role.
that movie so much.
Oh, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels in my
Such a
top 10
good one.
comedies of all time.
So
If you
good.
haven't seen it, go out and see it. I love that she's going to be in there. This is really cool casting. I love the sounds of this movie, both the fact that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is behind it, the fact that it's got this incredible cast, and the fact that it sounds like it could be really creative. I'm looking forward to it, but I must agree with Amy Rose. I don't think this is just an itch for him, but at the same time, no. I don't think we'll ever see him go away from his true bread and butter, which is he's a great actor. And I'd love to see him do a straight-up comedy. A straight-up, like 500 Days of Summer, the one he just did with Seth Rogen. I mean, he's done funny drama.
50-50 was definitely more on the drama side.
Definitely more of a drama. That they try to market it a bit as a
Yeah.
comedy, which is why I think some people walked out a
Yeah,
little disgruntled
agree.
with it, just because it was pitched to them wrong. I'd love to see him do some straight up comedy. I think he would be great in that. But yeah, I think we'll see him direct a little bit, but a lot will depend on the success of this film. Let's hope it's good. I think it looks great. We will see. All right, folks, that'll do it for us. Thanks a lot for joining us. Hey, listen, I want to remind you once again about Comic-Con. Thursday, July the 18th at San Diego Comic-Con, 11:30 in the morning, we have our Masters of the Web panel with a horror theme, with a special guest of the director and the writer from the upcoming amazing horror film, You're Next. And then later in the evening at the Omni Hotel, we're going to have an AMC Movie News meet and greet with all the crew here. We're all going to be there. Make sure you come on down and say hi. And listen, while I've got you, before you do anything else, take a second and click the subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news, and of course our daily AMC Movie Talk Show and our weekends AMC Mailbag Show, as well as our little editorials periodically. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AMC Theaters. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AMC Theaters. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio. Once again, click that thumbs up button and click the subscribe button and follow us here. Thanks a lot for joining us. I want to thank, as always, our very lovely host, Miss Clark Wolf. Clark, where can people find you online?
I am on Twitter at Clark Wolf, Clark with an E, Wolf with an E, and Facebook at official Clark Wolf. And thank you so much for having me, John.
I want to thank, of course, the Associate Editor of Movie News here at AMC Movie News, Miss Amy Rose Eisenbach. Amy Rose, where can people find you?
At Twitter at Amy Rosie, AMIROSIE.
You can find me on Twitter at John Campia, on Facebook at John Campia. Just look for John Campia. There's not many of us out there. Thanks a lot for joining us. Until next time, my name is John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until then, bye-bye.